Hello, you're listening to Storytelling Saga, the podcast that shares stories. I'm your host, Allie, and this is the final episode of 2021. I've got a brand new short story to share, but before I do that, I'd like to talk a little bit about my New Year's resolutions for 2022. I always write a blog post detailing my New Year's resolutions, but what's cool is that I recently read something saying that you can look at resolutions in a different way by asking yourself these three questions, which are: what do I want to be true a year from now? What do I want to keep doing? And what do I want to stop doing? And I thought, oh wow, that's a really interesting way of looking at it. But for myself personally, though, my two main things heading into 2022 are courage and creativity. I'd like to have more courage, and I would like to create more things, create more manuscripts, more scripts, more short stories, just keep writing. So for me, I want to keep writing always, reading and writing. And what do I want to stop doing? For me, I'd like to stop more so with the negative self-talk. That's been a struggle for me personally my entire life. I struggle with self-esteem issues. It's just been my entire life, unfortunately. It's still an ongoing thing for me. It's something I've been trying to not only I'm mindful of it more so now, but really try to change my thought patterns and things like that because it's just really hard sometimes. But you do so with that by focusing on what you're grateful for. And of course, myself being so fortunate with things in my life. So that's what's really important too. And then what do I want to be true a year from now? I'd like to be happy in my personal and professional life. So, I want to be having more success and perhaps in a new state. That's something I'm looking towards as well. And heading into 2022, also, in terms of other things I'm looking forward to, I did this last year too, talking about things I was watching, things I was looking forward to. And I did talk about last year how I was excited for the iCarly reboot, which I did end up watching and I enjoyed. It was cute. I thought it was great. So, and they are currently filming season 2. I'm excited for that. I'm still really excited for, which is finally officially coming out this year, the Bob's Burgers movie. That's a really great show. I've been watching that show more so recently. Such a wonderful, feel-good show. I'm looking forward to another class I'm going to be taking, another writing course, and I'm continuing with my other writing courses that I'm doing, and hopefully I'd love to get published. That's a big goal for me, to get published, and either that or to sell a script. That would be absolutely incredible. I'm still really hoping for that. I'm crossing my fingers as I'm saying that. I'm so excited just to continue with my passion for writing and turn that into my career, being an author, being a screenwriter. I want to write for TV shows. That's still my overall goal. So I'm really excited for all of that. Also, other things I've been watching. I loved the 2 South Park post-pandemic specials on Paramount Plus. Absolutely hysterical. I was crying laughing with certain character reveals. If you haven't seen them, go check them out. Fantastic on Paramount Plus. It was South Park, the post-COVID special, and then post-COVID return to COVID, 2-hour-long specials. Oh God, it just was amazing. As a longtime fan of that show, it's just so good. So I'm excited for more. I love South Park, one of my all-time favorite shows, and I'm excited for more of that. I also recently watched the trailer for the upcoming Pixar movie. Is it Seeing Red? No, Turning Red. It looks really good. It looks like one of those great coming-of-age movies, and it just looks really... I'm excited for that one, too. It looks really, really great. I'm also excited for, in terms of this podcast, too, having more, doing more interviews, more guests. That's always a lot of fun, so I'm excited for that. And trying new things, too. That's another thing I'm going to be focusing on as well. Just trying new stuff, so we'll see how all that goes too, and just continuing with my writing and all of that too, and of course with this podcast. So a lot of great stuff coming up, and cheers to a wonderful 2022. And with all that being said, I've got a brand new short story to share. It's called Faux Pas, and I recently learned that the plural of faux pas, it's spelt the same way. Faux pas, faux pas, it's just spelt the same way. I didn't realize that. So, and I will say this story it started one way, it kind of went in a different direction. I just went with it. I was like, all right, it's just going in a different bizarre direction, because currently also I recently binged for the first time 30 Rock. Great show. so much like ridiculous humor in it, but like a satire on Tina Fey's life when she was the head writer of SNL. So that was a lot of fun to watch too. It's a great show. And I'm currently binging, I'm almost done actually now. It's on Netflix. I'm currently binging Happy Endings, which is a show I had always heard of, and I had always heard that it was canceled too soon, and I knew that Damon Wayans Jr., aka Coach from New Girl, was on the show. That's why he had left New Girl, because he was already part of Happy Endings, so... And it's a really great show. I've got words like souks and amazing and so cute stuck in my head, like all their like terminology. It's a really, really fun show. And in terms of other stuff, I'm excited for the next season of Ted Lasso. I'm excited for the next, and it turns out it's going to be the final season of Kevin Can F Himself, but it's such a good show, that show, so that's too bad it's going to be, or Kevin Can Fuck Himself, rather, that's the proper title. I'm excited for that. I'm sure it's going to be amazing, even though it's the final season, but it's going to be really good, I'm sure. And the newest season of Tuca and Birdie was really great too. So I'm looking forward to season 3. That's going to be coming out on Adult Swim. So that's a great show too. And also another show I got into this year is Hell of a Boss. Absolutely amazing. Such a fucking amazing web series. And I got into that show because Richard Horvitz does a voice in it, and I love Richard Horvitz, voice of Zim, Daggett, Billy from Billy and Mandy, etc. So that's just, oh my god, what a great show. Vivian Madrano, aka Vivzy Pop, is phenomenal. And I know her other series, Has Been Hotel, has been picked up. And I haven't watched that pilot yet, but I definitely plan to. I'm like kind of just waiting. Also, I'm trying to think what else. There's other stuff too, but I actually came very close to discussing that show, but then I figured, like, discussing it, I started watching it back in August, but then I figured, let me actually wait until season 1 is done. And so that's why I figured to just wait until then to talk about it. So I will be doing that very soon. And because, like, the final episode of the season should be dropping probably very soon, I would think. In the meantime, though, also another show, I haven't discussed it yet because unfortunately it was canceled, which is AP Bio. Great show, that reminds me too, starring Glenn Howerton, aka Dennis Reynolds from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And that show recently finished its 15th season, making it officially the longest running live action show in seasons, even though it's only it's fewer episodes though, it's only like 10 episodes or so a season, but this past season was only 8 episodes, and it was really fucking great. With them in Ireland, so good, this show. They also have a podcast now, a lot of great podcasts too. So that's a great podcast, the Always Sunny podcast. And another podcast I started listening to this year was the I Am All In podcast with Scott Patterson, who plays Luke Danes on Gilmore Girls. Really great podcast. And I love Office Ladies. That's a great podcast, a great watch-through podcast, and so many other ones, but that's just like a few of the bigger ones that I listen to on a weekly basis. A lot of great stuff. It's going to be, an awesome year. Very excited. So again, with all that being said, got my brand new short story to share. It's just kind of, I don't know, it's interesting, this story, so we'll see. But it's called Faux Pas, and here we go. Without further ado, it's story time. Few things in this world embarrass me. Tripping over something happens to the best of us. Dropped some food on my new blouse, comes right out with a little club soda or a stain stick. Forgetting someone's name, such is the nature of my business. However, unfortunately, on the rarest of occasions when I do suffer the mean red monstrosity of shame, it's colossal. I'm talking shit in your pants and a white satin dress bad. This time did involve pants, thankfully no shit, but I'll let you be the judge of my monumental moment of embarrassment. It started at a charity gala. I know, I sound like a fancy rich bitch. And I am, but that's besides the point. Claudia, darling, you look radiant. I'm enveloped by a tall woman ensconced in a sparkling black evening gown. She air kisses each of my cheeks, how European, and I beam politely, swirling the remaining bit of sweet champagne in my glass that is somehow still fizzy. We upper class certainly are spoiled with the best of everything. Extravagant clothing, luxurious cars, gourmet food, bubbliest champagne. Not that I'm complaining. It does raise one's palate. I can sense the difference between cheap wine and expensive wine. You'd think it was all in the taste, but no, in fact, it's all in the sound of that cork pop. but I won't bore you with the semantics of pricey and inexpensive wine at the moment. I flash a dazzling smile at my friend. Perhaps that's too strong a term, though acquaintance is too small a term. Perhaps colleague works best. Yes, that's the one. As do you, Joanne, I reply, extending my champagne flute toward her. Have you tried the champagne? It's divine. Joanne attempts to scrunch up her face, as much as her face will allow thanks to Botox and fillers. Oh, I did, she says. Too sweet for my taste. A small wiggle of the fingers and a snooty wave and she's off to greet someone else. And I thought I was hard to please. I leave behind my champagne on a nearby table and adjust the waist of my pantsuit. I suppose I could have gone with a traditional evening gown like most of these hoity-toity women, but I'm also a speaker at this event, and as a speaker you need to stand out. The stage is awaiting to be graced by my presence. I can see the silver microphone, one of those slender ones with a long metal neck that one can bend to one's liking. It's simply calling my name. Oh, Claudia! I turn to find a portly gentleman waving me over. I recognize him from other fundraising events such as this. He's always one of the more generous donors, though he always gets his money's worth by not being shy when it comes to helping himself to complimentary hors d'oeuvres. He's stacking his plate with oysters as I approach him. Charles, hello, how are the oysters? Marvelous as always, he says. You remember my wife. He gestures towards his wife, who wears a lavish fur stole. Real, of course. I take her extended hand. Why, yes, of course. And how are you, Deborah? I'm splendid, dear, but my name is Paula. I'm guilty of the common name-forgetting faux pas. What can I say? I meet so many people. It's difficult enough as it is to keep track of colleagues and patrons and constituents, let alone their spouses and/or children. Paula, I say, you and your husband are always so generous. That's the trick to the name mix-up faux pas. Pivot to a compliment so that you dodge the half-hearted apology. That we are, she says, sharing a proud smile with her husband. You certainly know how to organize a fantastic fundraiser. What can I say? I put the fun in fundraiser, I say. On cue, Paula throws her head back and laughs. I join her, chortling like I just cracked the code to ultimate humor. Though I know we both know it's not the least bit funny. She's being polite. I'm joining in to form a bond with her and permanently put the whole Deborah-Paula mix-up behind us. It's pretentious and not the least bit genuine, but sometimes you have to fake a laugh. Well, I'll let you mingle, Paula says once we've ceased our uproarious pretend laughter. I look forward to your speech tonight. Look no further, I'll be making it right now. She tips her head and her husband, Henry? No, Charles, I knew that one, raises one of the oysters toward me. I nod and head to the podium, passing by white linen-covered tables and a crystal chandelier, and formally dressed patrons indulging on the finest catering. And here we are to raise money for those less fortunate than us. How frivolous and foolish we are, but we deserve to reward ourselves too, do we not? And now I'm about to give a speech about this noteworthy cause and how the money will help, and everyone will clap and pat themselves on the back for being such caring philanthropists, when really we're all secretly judging one another on our attire and our profession and our faux pas. How elitist. It's around this point that I find myself questioning if I belong with these wealthy folks at all. I have a lot of money, and I love the finer things in life. My palate is more sophisticated than most. But do I actually enjoy trading phony pleasantries with one pompous person after the next? It's also around this point that the ultra moment of extreme humiliation happens, though I'm unaware of it at the time, because of course that only adds to the heaping pile of disgrace. I should have realized when the snickering had started, flitting about like a swarm of bees working hard for their queen. But oh, how the mighty fall, or however that expression goes, for in the lighting of this obscenely lavish charity event, my pantsuit has become see-through, and everyone gets their own personal shot of my tramp stamp. It doesn't matter what it's a tattoo of, or that I got it because my sorority sisters had dared me years and years ago. I'd chosen to get it, and I wasn't going to be ashamed of it now. I catch a woman mouthing something to a person nearby, and I freeze and slowly turn to gauge the crowd, murmurs spreading through like a wave of disapproval. In a flash, I stop before I can reach the microphone, and with the heat of embarrassment coursing through me, I shout, "Yes, I have a tattoo of an ass above my ass. So what?" And the room falls deathly silent. Normally I love all eyes on me, but now it's horribly unpleasant. Some eyes are widened in shock and horror, Others are cringing in secondhand embarrassment. I storm off lest I humiliate myself further. And it's as though years of perpetual grace and confidence have all gone down the crapper. What's the point of using sophisticated language now? I help myself to a glass of red wine and wave off the heads turning my way. In my hurry, I nearly barrel into one of the servers and have to excuse myself and make for the ladies' room. I drink some of my wine and look at myself in the mirror. Though when I turn, I see that my tattoo isn't visible at all. A young woman walks into the bathroom, wavy black hair and a wine stain on her slim-fitting dress. She rushes right over to the sink, turning on the faucet and vigorously pulling out the paper towel dispenser. "Oh dear, can I help?" I ask, placing down my glass of wine as she wets a paper towel. "I'm so humiliated," she says, only to pause when she catches my gaze. "Oh, you're the woman who just blurted out about your butt tattoo." Everyone seems really confused by that. It all clicks into place that they weren't whispering about me at all. Perhaps they were gossiping amongst themselves, because, let's face it, without gossip these events would be dreadfully uninteresting. I embarrassed myself for no reason. Well, perhaps a reason. At least I livened things up, giving them all something else to gossip about. And what do I care anyway? I'm sure they all have their fair share of painful secrets. "You can't see it, can you?" I ask, and she tilts her head and shakes it sideways. I brighten back up. "Oh, good." She's already busy blotting her dress with a wet paper towel, cursing under her breath. "I knew I didn't belong here. I wasn't planning on attending, but my date insisted. Said it would be the perfect opportunity to spend some alone time together away from his wife." My interest is piqued. "Oh," I say. Now she stops and her eyes pop open like she just walked in on someone masturbating. "Shit," she says. "Forget I said that." I twist an invisible key at the corner of my lips. She sighs, relieved, and returns to getting the stain out of her dress. I pick up my glass of wine. "Well, I suppose I can't hide in the restroom for the rest of the evening," I say. "You'll be just fine. I guarantee you people are either too drunk or too wrapped up in their own secrets to ridicule you for spilling some wine on yourself. It happens to the best of us." "I guess you're right," she says, shutting off the running water. The front of her dress is splotchy with the water stain, but I've seen much worse. It'll dry. "I'm Penelope, by the way." "Claudia," I say. "And you know, between you and me, sometimes I feel like I don't belong here either. But if I can walk back out there after my embarrassing confession, so can you." She nods and turns on her heel, heading out the door. I follow with a renewed sense of confidence. I see everyone milling about, and I march toward the podium. "Hello," I say into the microphone, and the conversations die out. "I'd apologize for my faux pas, but this sweet event needed some spice." A smattering of laughter. I continue. "You may have all learned quite the personal detail about me tonight, but we've all got our secrets." I shoot a look at Penelope and her date. His eyes shift away. Caught. "Most importantly, we're here to raise money, and..." I lean in closer to the microphone. "Whoever donates the most will get a personal look at my tattoo. Cheers!" I take in the looks of confusion and disgust from some, and intrigue from others. I hold up my glass and take a drink. If you can't beat embarrassment, you may as well use it to your advantage. Alright, that was Faux Pas. Like I said, it just it just took a turn, the story, and I figured, alright, why not? Let's just see where it goes. So that's often how you get the best stuff, when something surprises you yourself and you just keep going with it. You yes and to yourself with your writing. So there you go. And again, I wish you a truly wonderful, amazing new year heading into 2022, filled with love and laughter and joy and success. And with that, that is going to conclude this week's episode of Storytelling Saga. Be sure to visit storytellingsaga.com, and as always, feel free to send me any questions, comments, or writing prompts by sending me an email at storytellingsaga@gmail.com. Next episode, it's time to call the immediate murder professionals, because I will be discussing Hell of a Boss. Until then, thank you for listening, and remember, write what you love.